Hi, this is your Professor Sudha Kolathu Parambil. Today you are going to learn new chapter, chapter 9, hypothesis testing. Section 9.1, basic principles of hypothesis testing. This has three objectives. Define the null and alternate hypothesis, state conclusion to hypothesis test, and distinguish between type 1 and type 2 errors. Air pollution has become a serious health problem in many cities. One of the form of air pollution that health officials are most concerned about is particulate matter or PM, which refers to fine particle that can be trapped in the lungs, increasing the risk of respiratory disease. Some of the PM in the atmosphere come from car exhaust. So one important way to reduce PM pollution is to design an automobile engine that produces less PM. So the following example will show how hypothesis testing can play a part in this effort. Objective 1. How to define the null and alternate hypothesis. A study published in the Journal of the Air and Waste Management Association reported that the mean amount of particulate matter produced by cars and light trucks in an urban setting is 35 milligrams of PM per mile of travel. Suppose that a new engine design is proposed that is intended to reduce the amount of particulate matter in the air. There are two possible outcomes that could happen in the new engine design. Either the new design will reduce the level of PM or it will not. These possibilities are called hypotheses. One of the hypotheses is called the null hypothesis and the other is called the alternate hypothesis. Here mean is 35. The null hypothesis says that the new design will not reduce the level. So the mean for the new engine will be mu equal 35. So that will be the null hypothesis. The new design will reduce the level of PM. So the alternate hypothesis says that the new design will reduce the level. So mu will be less than 35. Reduce means it should be less than. So less than 35. In general, a null hypothesis says that a parameter equal to a certain value, while the alternate hypothesis says that the parameter differs from this value. Often the null hypothesis is a statement of no change or no difference, while the alternate hypothesis states that a change or difference has occurred. And we usually denote the null hypothesis by H0 like this, and we put it to dot like colon. Then we will say mu equal 35 if the mean is equal 35 compared to the previous example. And for the alternate hypothesis, we use H1 to represent that and put to colon. And mu is less than 35 since the new design will reduce the level. The null hypothesis states that the parameter is equal to a specific value. The alternate hypothesis about a parameter states that the value of the parameter differs from the value specified by the null hypothesis. And we denote the alternate hypothesis by H1. And there are three types of alternate hypothesis. It can be less than 35 or it can be greater than 35 or it can be not equal 35. So depending on the situation, we use that notations. So in the previous example, if you compare to the previous example, it says that the new design will reduce the level. That's why we use the less than. If the question says increase, then we will use the greater than sign. Or if the question says differs from the mean, then we will use not equal. So those are called the left-tailed, right-tailed and two-tailed alternate hypothesis. And left-tailed and right-tailed hypothesis are called the one-tailed hypothesis. State the null and alternate hypothesis. Box of a certain kind of cereal are labeled as containing 20 ounces An inspector thinks that the mean weight may be less than this. State the appropriate null and alternate hypothesis. Null hypothesis says that there is no difference, so it will be mu equal 20. The inspector thinks that the mean weight may be less than 20, so the alternate hypothesis is mu less than 20. These are the symbols for less than, greater than, equal and not equal. Now let's look at example 2. Last year, the mean monthly rent for an apartment in a certain city was 800. A real estate agent believes that the mean rent is higher this year. State the appropriate null and alternate hypothesis. The null hypothesis says that there is no change. So it will be mu equal 800. The real estate agent wants to know whether the mean is higher. So the alternate hypothesis is mu greater than 800. So higher means greater than. Third example, the scores on a standard test have a mean of 70. Some modifications are made to the test and the educator believes that the mean may have changed. State the appropriate null and alternate hypothesis. So the null hypothesis says that there is no change. So null hypothesis will be mu equal 70. So educator wants to know whether the mean have changed. They are not saying it is increased or decreased. So if they are just saying it's changed, that means it's not equal 70. So the alternate hypothesis will be mu not equal 70. Purpose of a hypothesis test and how a hypothesis test is conducted. The purpose of hypothesis test is to determine how likely it is to determine how plausible the null hypothesis is. The idea behind a hypothesis test is similar to a criminal trial. At the beginning of the trial, the defendant is assumed to be innocent. Then the evidence is presented. If the evidence strongly indicates that the defendant is guilty, we abandon the assumptions of the innocence and conclude that the defendant is guilty. In a hypothesis test, the null hypothesis is like the defendant in a criminal trial. At the start of the hypothesis test, we assume that the null hypothesis is true. Then we look at the evidence which comes from the data that we have been collected. If the data strongly indicates that the null hypothesis is false, we abandon our assumption that it is true and believe the alternate hypothesis instead. This is referred as rejecting the null hypothesis. So overall procedure is we assume that the null hypothesis is true, then we look at the evidence, then we make a decision whether to reject the null hypothesis or not. If the data provides strong evidence against the null hypothesis, we reject it and believe the alternate hypothesis. While stating conclusion, you need to conclude in like an entire sentence. You cannot simply say that we reject the null hypothesis. While stating conclusion, if the null hypothesis is rejected, we conclude that H1 is true. We can state this conclusion by expressing H1 in words. We should not simply say that we reject the null hypothesis. So you have to explain that in sentence. If the null hypothesis is rejected, the conclusion is straightforward. We conclude that the alternate hypothesis, you need to explain that and conclude that it is true. If the null hypothesis is not rejected, we are saying that there is not enough evidence to conclude that the alternate hypothesis, and you need to explain what is the alternate hypothesis, and that is true. And we are not saying that null hypothesis is true. We are saying that the null hypothesis might be true. So the conclusion of the hypothesis test is like verdict of a jury. Not rejecting the null hypothesis is like a jury verdict of not guilty. A not guilty verdict doesn't mean that the defendant is innocent. It just means that the evidence wasn't strong enough to be sure of guilt. So not rejecting the null hypothesis does not mean that the null hypothesis is true. It just means that the evidence wasn't strong enough to reject it. This example shows how to state conclusion when the null hypothesis is rejected. A box of certain kind of cereal are labeled containing 20 ounces. An inspector thinks that the mean weight may be less than this. So he performs a hypothesis test, null hypothesis mu equal 20 versus the alternate hypothesis mu less than 20. And he rejects the null hypothesis. We need to state an appropriate conclusion. Since he rejects the null hypothesis, we conclude that the alternate hypothesis is true. So we conclude that the mean weight of the cereal is less than 20 ounces. How to state a conclusion when the null hypothesis is not rejected? A box of certain kind of cereal are labeled as containing 20 ounces and an inspector thinks that the mean weight may be less than this. He performs a hypothesis test, null hypothesis mu equal 20 versus the alternate hypothesis mu less than 20. He does not reject the null hypothesis. State an appropriate conclusion. Here null hypothesis is not rejected. So we do not have sufficient evidence to conclude that the alternate hypothesis is true. So in another word, we can state that there is not enough evidence to conclude that the mean weight of cereal box is less than 20 ounces. Objective 3. Distinguish between type 1 and type 2 errors. When the hypothesis test is conducted and a decision is made, there is a possibility that it is a wrong decision. There are two ways in which the wrong decision may occur in hypothesis testing. First is if the null hypothesis is true, we might mistakenly reject it. Second one is if the null hypothesis is false, we might mistakenly decide not to reject it. Rejecting the null hypothesis when it is true is called the type 1 error, and failed rejecting the null hypothesis when it is false is called the type 2 error. For example, in a trial, the null hypothesis is that the defendant is innocent. A type 1 error occurs if the innocent defendant is found guilty, and a type 2 error occurs if a guilty defendant is found not guilty. So this table summarizes the possibilities. Rejecting the null hypothesis when it is true is the type 1 error, and fail to reject the null hypothesis when it is false is the type 2 error. Let's look at some example which involves the type 1 and type 2 errors. The dean of a business school wants to determine whether the mean starting salary of graduates of her school is greater than $50,000. She will perform a hypothesis test with null hypothesis mu equal 50,000 and the alternate hypothesis mu greater than 50,000. Suppose that the true mean is 50,000 and the dean rejects the null hypothesis. Is this a type 1 or type 2 error or an incorrect decision? Here the true mean is 50,000 and dean rejects the null hypothesis. So this is a type 1 error. Example 2 is also similar to the previous question, but here the true mean is 55,000 and the dean rejects the null hypothesis. Is this a type 1 error, type 2 error or correct decision? Here the true mean is 55,000, so the null hypothesis is false. Because the dean rejects the null hypothesis, this is a correct decision. In the third example, the true mean is 55,000 and the dean does not reject the null hypothesis. Is this a type 1 error, type 2 error or correct decision? Here true mean is 55,000, so null hypothesis is false. And the dean does not reject the null hypothesis. So null hypothesis false and fail to reject the null hypothesis. That means that is the intersection of these two. You can say that is the type 2 error. So now you learn how to write the null and alternate hypothesis. So for null hypothesis, this is the notation we use. For alternate hypothesis, we use the notation like H1, or sometimes in some other books you can see HA for alternate. Then you learn how to determine whether the hypothesis test is left-tailed, right-tailed or two-tailed. So for left-tailed hypothesis, we were writing mu less than 50. For right-tail, it will be alternate hypothesis mu greater than 50. For two-tailed, it will be like an alternate hypothesis mu not equal 50. So these are the notation for that. Okay. Then you learn how to state the conclusion to the hypothesis test and how to distinguish between type 1 and type 2 error and correct decisions. So type 1 error is rejecting the null hypothesis when it is true, and type 2 error is fail to reject the null hypothesis when it is false. In next section you will learn the hypothesis test for a population mean. Standard deviation is known.